Happy New Year, KHM agents. This is my favorite gift of 2022, the Oculus. I'm going to share more about it in just a second, but I got to take it off because it's making me crazy. Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly go-to resource for industry news and straight up fun. I am your host, Carolyn Orff, and it is our 50th episode. I just can't even believe that we are here. We started the show, to the day 1 year ago. We've taken 2 weeks off throughout the entire year, which is incredible. That's it. And we're just so excited to be with you all today. I know that you guys, this was my Oculus. This was the best gift of the holiday season. It's actually my son's gift, but I'm going to tell you why I love it so much. You can actually sit on your couch and visit destinations. How cool is that? So if you're interested in Venice or Rome or Madrid, you can download an app and go visit all those places. So not that we want our clients going virtually, we want them all in person, but this is a great way to learn about destinations you don't know about. So, okay, so now I know it's been a week since we've been on. Our last show on the 22nd, I shared with you some of my favorite last minute gifts for the family. One of which was Throw Burrito, which was our new game that was in the house. And I know you've all been on pins and needles for the last week, wondering what got broken in the Orff household. And I'm happy to say nothing was broken playing Throw Burrito. However, we had a few injuries, nothing a Band-Aid couldn't cure, but it was still a lot of fun. But yeah, there was a little bit of blood. Anyways, all kidding aside, we have some amazing things in store for you for 2022. We have incredible sponsors. We have incredible guests lined up. What else do we have? In February, our hope is to go live through streaming through YouTube. So stay with me on more news on that and how you're going to be able to find us that way. But it's just going to be an incredible year with some really amazing guests that we already have lined up for you. So did you guys know that this week is Thank Your Customers Week? Here to give us her thoughts on ways that we can thank our customers in the social realm is Carolyn Sikarik with the marketing team at KHM Travel Group. Welcome, Carolyn, and Happy New Year.
Hi, Carolyn. Happy New Year. So I have a question. Did you Purell between throws of the burrito?
Yeah, no. I can tell you right now, that did not happen. And there were 2 burritos, so we just went back and forth with the germs. Yeah, no, none of that happened. So we're so glad that you're here today. I think it's really important, and we talked about this throughout almost all of December, the ways that we can thank our guests, our clients, and people had ideas, everything from personal business swag to gift cards and just simple thank you notes, cases of water on a cruise ship. But we can also do this a little bit more publicly through social media. So what are some of the ways that we can do this?
Yeah, so I'm just excited to be here to represent the marketing team. I got a lot of their ideas, so these are not just my ideas. And what we're looking to do is just help you take a fresh look. New year, new marketing. So this will be the first of a few segments we do this month. One of the most successful ways that we've actually helped agents do this thank you thing is by hosting a customer appreciation week. So the idea behind that is you pick one week, and that could be, everybody expects the gratitude to come in November around Small Business Saturday, thank you for supporting my small business. So why not choose a different week, like your anniversary week? Because everybody loves a celebration, right? We're celebrating our 50th episode today. So you could choose your agency's anniversary week, your birthday week, or maybe some other milestone you're celebrating, like your 25th country booked, your 50th client, and turn it into really, you could either call it a customer appreciation week or a client appreciation week.
And so things like I know I've done in the past, post your favorite family photo that from a trip that I've sent you on. And then I actually do a drawing at the end of the week for a gift card. So that's one way to engage people and remind them that you're there.
Yeah, so this is really a great time to just do kind of your own social media takeover where you are just very active on all of your accounts, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, think of ways you could incorporate videos and really just, maybe you post a couple times a week normally. Well, you should have something planned for every day. A couple of other ideas we had, on all of your communications, not just social, but also email, because you can use an email template, make that easy. But people also like a personal thank you. So whenever you can do something to highlight just a single client or customer, it'll go a long way. And we're going to touch on that a little bit more later too. One other thing you could do,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you could also tie in suppliers. So just as you're showing gratitude to your customers, your clients that week, you could show gratitude to the suppliers who are good to travel agents and your clients. You could feature one each day. Maybe if you want to do something promotional or highlight a destination or unique value add that you can provide, do that. But you could pair it with a photo of a client whose trip you booked using that supplier.
One of the things that I love that you mentioned is to ask your clients to share their gratitude. And I know this, some of our agents are so good at this. This is something I'm terrible at. It almost gives me like chest pains to like ask people.
Yeah, and you're not alone.
Just to like put something out there publicly. But when people do it, it's really very nice and it goes a really long way.
Yeah, so actually I chatted with Stephanie a little bit about this, who does book travel. So I do not. I'm the marketing strategy and community engagement person, so I'm certainly thinking a lot about marketing and marketing travel. But Stephanie had some great ideas, so I want to share a couple of those with you. And one was that just every month or every week, you put a post out there and you say something like, hey, if you traveled on a trip this month, like say it's the end of January, if you took a trip in January that I helped you book and you had a good experience, please, comment below or upload a photo, or this is where if you have an agency hashtag, you can remind them because, we're busy. Sometimes we just forget to say, thank you. Word of mouth and referrals are just huge in this industry. So sometimes we forget that after a client comes home and everything's done, we move on to the next trip because you've always hopefully got people traveling or people booking, and you really need to be watching for those gems, those people who are active on social media already. Maybe they're the people who were posting during their vacation. Some people unplug, but some people are sharing photos. They can really be your brand champions, and everybody loves a good vacation photo. So if you can get their permission and share that, or even get their words and use Canva to turn that into like a testimonial graphic that you could share, or even an Instagram story. So I just learned all about Instagram stories and how that could work.
That's awesome. I think quotes go a really long way, and you can use them in so many different ways, either on a website or on Instagram, TikTok. You could even use them on. Starting to learn a little bit about that. That's what happens when you have a house full of teenagers for Christmas.
It is. Well, and think about those small, even if it's just a 1-minute video, even if it's you opening up a thank you card from a customer and reading it aloud. I mean, it does seem like tooting your own horn, but people love that behind the scenes look at what you do. Even if you just share a photo of your office. I'm here in my basement office today, a little bit dark and dingy down here, so I hung up some new travel posters, but people want to see where you do what you do.
I love that.
Maybe she'll do a short video, videos just pop into the feed, more frequently than photos, but anything visual when you're talking social media is going to go a long way, especially on Instagram, Facebook. The more visual.
I love that. And I think it's such a new way to look at things. We're typically trying to throw so much out there, offers and deals and this and that, and to be sharing more of the thanks instead of information. I think we might find that we start to reel in some of those clients and new clients. So I appreciate your thoughts today.
Yeah, I just have one more thing to share. I learned how to say thank you in a bunch of different languages, and I'm thinking, well, we're a travel agency, so I should test some of those out. But my favorite one is in Thai, because I was able to go to Thailand once, and you say Kap Kun Ka if it's a female that you're speaking to, or Kap Kun Krum, I think, if it's a male. But anyways, I might have that wrong. But even just a little short vocabulary lesson every week, and teaching your clients how to say thank you in the destination that they're going to be visiting. So Bill, practice your grazies. I know he's going to be on in a little bit because he's going to be going to Italy. Or you could also say merci beaucoup if you're going to France, because that's thank you very much. So little things like that will just cut into the news feed and help show your clients that you're grateful for them, because after all, they're why you're here and they're why you do what you do.
Well, and what a good, thank you for that, because what a good weekly Facebook post or Instagram post is a vocabulary word. That's
Mhm.
fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah,
See,
you're
now you got
welcome.
my brain going. Thanks
Thanks
so
for
much,
having me
Carolyn, the
on.
other Carolyn. Carolyn number one at KHM. You were number one. You
The
guys
one with
have
the
it.
balloons today. That's you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, thanks.
See, you you can teach an old dog new tricks, you guys. After 14 years, there's still something new to learn from those in the industry. So one of my favorite things in 2021 by far was when members of our education team would come on this show and share their perspective, their point of view. We all have a different one. We don't always agree, but we definitely respect where everyone is coming from. And so here today to share our insight into some of the positive things we saw in 2021, and perhaps with our crystal ball, share some things we think we're going to see in 2022, is Vice President of Agent Engagement for KHM Travel Group, Bill Coyle. That title sounds good on you. And a member of our wonderful education team, Wanda Thomas, otherwise known as the Globetrotter. Nice to see you.
Hello, hello.
Wanda's been around the world and back in the last 2 months. We're so happy that you're back with us.
I am glad to be back. A little tired, but I'm glad to be back.
So, Wanda, let's start with you. In 2021, what were some of the things that stood out to you as positive changes in our industry?
Well, one of the things I think everybody can relate to is the fact that we started to get more sales. More people were knocking on the doors. So that was a wonderful thing to see. I think that as I've looked at the different communications from different agents, as far as to their successes that came forth in 2021, a lot of people reached some goals that they hadn't anticipated. A lot of people exceeded some goals that they had, and put out there. So it was a lot of positive going on from the standpoint of 2021 compared to where we were previously in 2020. It was so nice to get back into the cruise world. I think one of my last trips, that's what it was in the cruise world. And I took 2 cruises here at the end of the year, and so nice to be able to get back on a cruise ship. And there were so many agents that jumped right in and were the first ones out there doing it. And it was amazing, the millions of clients that actually took advantage of the excellent rates that were out there to really show their commitment to the cruise industry. I thought that was just amazing. And I'm sure each of the cruise companies really loved that particular fact as well. So those were some of the big things that I saw happen in 2021 that I really loved.
Wonderful. Bill, what did you see?
Thank you, Carolyn. First of all, congratulations on 50 episodes. What an amazing feat. That is fantastic. I'm just so proud of you. Secondly, I have a question about the Oculus. I'm a rookie at the Oculus. Is there everything pre-programmed on the Oculus, or can you Google things, or can you pull up YouTube from there?
You pull up different apps. So like right now I have like Jurassic Park and Beat Saber, which is harder than you think it's going to be, and some other game that's too violent for me. But those are the ones that come preloaded, and then you can get other ones. So like my aunt really wanted like to feel like what it was like at the space station. So we have one on there now that kind of has you like floating. We've got a roller coaster one that makes me want to throw up. But the ones where you can like walk down the street without running into your wall are really very cool.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's cool. I know my grandkids have them, so I just have to put them on and try it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just know your space, because
yeah.
You can. When I say no one got hurt, well, there was a little bit of blood from running into ceilings and walls, but
and no wine involved in that.
Positive things for 2021. It was definitely the Oculus.
Yes, that's good to hear. So I think the one positive thing, if I'm looking at the big picture, is that we remained in business. Like, I still cannot get over how blessed we are that we were able to remain in business. So many agents did so many things to make it work, and I'm proud of everyone for doing that. I'm still shocked that I'm in the travel industry after a couple of tumultuous years, but if we made it through some of the things that we had been through in the past, and to remain in the business was big. Two things stick out. It's the idea that says, customers still say to me, "Hey, are you still in the travel business?" I'm like, I have to be, right? I don't have a choice. Of course, I'm here, and they're happy about that. So I'm so grateful to hear that they're still reaching out and they're happy about the fact that we're still travel agents and we can handle their travel. That was a big thing. Um, and then the idea of hopefully expressing ourselves and having clients learn more about us and what our um, limitations are when it comes to the travel industry, right? We found out that we don't know everything and we can't know everything. It's impossible. And I think that level of vulnerability endeared many clients to us. So if we use that psychologically moving forward, I think to our advantage, I think that we're going to be better off in 2022. I won't jump into 2022 because I know you're going to go into that, but I feel like I'm blessed to know that our clients appreciate us all the more because we made it through that year.
Yeah. What some of the things that I feel like I saw, and I shared my thoughts with you guys, my list was, I love the fact that many of our suppliers, especially our preferred suppliers, said no more brand fees. Like, that was huge, to be able to make a reservation and know that I wasn't going to get stuck with a $50 per person cancel fee if something happened.
Yes.
Flexible air policies. Thank you, airlines. You are now competitive in the market to, and I'm loving that. I am absolutely loving it. And brand loyalty has shifted because of that. I feel like we saw high guest satisfaction levels when it comes to cruises, which was a huge, huge win. And it's still, even with some of the issues we're still seeing those high levels from those that are cruising. And I loved that both our tour operators and our agents work together to create resources, whether it was random Facebook groups that came about, and we're going to speak with these two ladies in just a minute from Delta Vacations, resources that are from our preferred suppliers that just made our job a little bit easier. There was a place to go to find out, where should I be sending clients in the US? How do I get out of the country? What do I need to know? So that some of that weight that you spoke about, Bill, was a little bit, taken off our shoulders to know everything all the time. And I don't know about you, Wanda. I know you're a good workflow person, but I feel like a lot of agents took the opportunity to get their stuff together and figure out better ways to work.
I agree with that. Process and procedure is very important, and I agree with you on that. I saw more and more people that were diving into education and trying to make sure that they understood their product in totality, make sure they understood their business and how it flows, how it flows, etc. They also really, in my opinion, focus more on the business aspect. That's what I saw from some of those that are in my circle. It's like, it wasn't just about the selling aspect per se. The whole thing we've gone through over the last couple of years, I think has brought people more into the realm of, I need to understand the risk that my business has. What are the things I need to understand that could impact me based on what I'm telling my client, how I am servicing my client. I saw more and more people add COVID disclosures to their terms and conditions, things of that nature. So absolutely agree. People really took more of a vision to their overall processes and procedures and how they had things documented and how they were actually moving forward in their business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And to add to that, one of the things that, and I'm really proud of the agents that I've either seen on Facebook groups or just on the show that have made comments, how proud I am that people have determined how and when they want to do business, that they have, I don't want to say grown a backbone, but they've really determined what and who they want to handle. And for an agent who books a lot to say, I got to step back for a moment. I cannot do XYZ right now because I've got other things that are more important, to be honest, and I can't provide that level of service the way I need to because of the changing protocols or whatever's happening. So I really have to give agents credit for knowing their limits and sticking to that, because there's no easier way to leave the industry or say I'm done with the industry is when you get too overwhelmed with what it is you're booking and the volume that you're doing. So I was really proud of agents for knowing their limits in 2021.
I think, I'm sure Bill will probably bring this up too, but the other thing I know we've talked about before is the number of new agents that came in 2021 as well. I remember Bill making a comment about, oh my gosh, these people are coming in at this time and so forth and so on. And it's like, wow, they don't really know what some went through, but they're hearing it. They're being able to prepare for the future based on what they've heard and seen that has happened and some of the things that they're experiencing at this time. So,
do you think it's almost easier, Bill? Do you feel like it's almost easier for a new agent in the sense of when they are booking something, they already kind of know I have to check this box, and this box, as opposed to those of us that have been doing this for a while that are like, oh, wait, I forgot I have to do that because of the times that we're in now?
Absolutely. I was speaking to a supplier yesterday who said that she was surprised about an experienced agent asking a question. I says, you're going to get more questions from an experienced agent than you are from a new agent, because we can't keep doing business the way we always were. We're adapting to the new policies and the changes. New agents are just coming in and already know that. That's how they're starting off their business. It's almost like the idea of a 30-second commercial. I think for 2022, experienced agents have to change their 30-second commercial. We just can't go out there and say, I am a travel agent who handles everything. I'm an all-service travel agent who does everything. I think we need to change our focus and make sure that we are doing what you said, Carolyn, focusing in that clientele that we want and that we know that we can handle, and that we can express what our limitations are, our abilities and our inabilities. And I think that's kind of been my attitude about 2022. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not just Bill who knows everything about every place. It's not going to happen anymore. So absolutely.
Before we move on to 2022, I want to share with you that I did exactly what you said. Is when a new client came to me and they wanted something a little outside of the box, and I don't even think they ended up going through with it, but I said, I'm happy to have the conversation, and then I will let you know if this is something I can take on.
I love that.
Had the conversation, and I said, I have to be honest with you, based on what you are talking about. You're talking about 3 different countries with 3 different protocols during the busiest season of the year. I said, I already have a full plate with clients. I really can't take this on as well, because this is time that I don't have to be checking in with you as you move countries and have to COVID test. And so I don't know that they ended up doing it, but I felt really good about saying, let's have the conversation. Let's talk about the challenges you're going to face doing this. And then let me determine whether or not I've got the bandwidth. And at the end of the day, I didn't.
I'm so glad you said that. That's the pre-qualifier, right?
Yes.
It's like the qualifier is going to happen eventually, but let's pre-qualify that.
Yep. But I think I might have earned future business with them, because I taught them things in that conversation that they hadn't even thought about. And so I don't really know if they ever went through with the trip doing it on their own, but I know I didn't lose face with them. I gained cred with them because I was honest and I shared with them what I thought their challenges were going to be. So for 2022, what are we seeing? Crystal ball.
Snap decisions. I'm so frustrated with tour companies and cruise lines making snap decisions. And I understand there has to be fluidity, but I'd like to see some type of a plan that's in place. And I know it comes from the top, it comes from CDC and, politicians, et cetera, but I just wish there was, like you say, this more consistent atmosphere of travel, so that there aren't constantly changes, major changes that are impacting clients, not just a week or 10 days before travel, but the day of travel.
That's true. That's true. But one thing about that, as you talk about with the cruise industry, one of the things that I think has been a positive step in the right direction, for instance, is the clear message that came out right after that CDC notice that came out. I thought that was so strong for that to come as quickly as it did. And then also I experienced several of the cruise lines to also put out a message themselves after that, giving some statistical data that made it clear. Here's how many clients we've served. Here's what our percentages looked at as far as to what has actually impacted. I mean, my 2 cruises that I had here at the end of the year, as well as some clients that were on cruises, it was the experience was great, you know, and the protocols they had in place were awesome. And I think, you know, as we look at 2022, we're going to definitely have to be even more of that scenario of making sure your client feels comfortable by giving them information, statistics, numbers, etc. We really need to look at what that looks like. What are the percentages? I've even seen some of the agents in some of our groups go, okay, look at this. This is only this percentage, so forth and so on. Well, how many did this? How many did that? So forth and so on. And, you know, I made a post that, even in my opinion, you know, we think about what the cruise industry has been through to get to run again, to get to their business, and what they are doing every day as far as the protocols to get on board. I mean, the cruise industry and the fact that their employees have to be vaccinated. They're making sure that clients are taking a test before they get on board. They're cleaning like crazy. That's all I saw when I was on board. They were cleaning like crazy. The service was amazing. The way they were disinfecting things, etc., was just absolutely amazing. So I'm thinking to myself, the only way I see that these things are happening is we go into these ports, we are still in our mindset that we're on this ship among those that have gone through all this protocol, and we've gone out and we're stopped thinking about the fact that, wait a minute, these people are living their lives every day. They're not in the bubble we've been in. Yeah. And we are forgetting that to some extent, as they even made a point on one of my cruises, that you think about, you go into some of these places and the vendors are pulling you into their shops. They're literally touching you, bringing you in, things of that nature, and you don't know what the scenario is. And so some of what I think has been happening has been coming from that direction. So again, I think the piece for 2022 for us is to definitely be informed, as it has always been, but more informed and more articulate in communicating the information we do have.
Thank you. That is my #1 for 2022. Before I even get your birth dates and your names as shown on your passports, we're going to have a conversation about this, and this. And I'd like you to sign off saying that we discussed this, that we discussed what quarantining looks like if you get stuck in a destination. And we discussed that this happened, this might happen, and this might happen, so that I don't have anyone, you know, that wants to do the fly me to Tijuana and go across the border. I don't want to be involved in that. I want to know up front that you're hearing what I'm saying. And so it's the pre-qualification conversation of, do you have passports? Yes. I don't want to ask if you've been vaccinated, but understanding that these are the requirements for some destinations. And so all of that conversation happens first before anything else. And so I think that booking process extends a little bit. Yes. To give people the information they need, let them know it's very well might change, but that way you're covering yourself. Absolutely. And communication and not rushing things, I think, is going to be the key for at least the first 2 quarters of 2022.
Absolutely. And just one more thing I feel is smaller is better. I think I love your point about small groups. Smaller is better. Mm-hmm. I feel that that's the way it's going to be for this year.
Well, Bill, to your point, Bill, I'm sorry, Carolyn, to your point earlier, we really have to specialize. And even to your point, Carolyn, we have to be clear about whom we're servicing, how we're servicing them, and what our limitations are, as you've made clear. I mean, I have always been about a smaller group. I like that intimate setting, but not to, I mean, you know, we think about product mix even. As we think about cruises, and this is where my mind is of late, is that maybe now you're shifting your focus a little bit to some of the smaller cruise lines, which also kind of leads into a bigger pocketbook per se, as far as to your sales, and therefore you've got a quicker turnaround in your sales volume for the year, as well as your commission for revenue. So you're not working as hard, you might be working smarter in that particular situation. So it's product mix as well, and thinking about how can I make change in my business in order to still be successful and show the value that I bring to the table with the right set of clients that I know are going to be repeat
Absolutely.
clients.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's really,
And
I remember, Carolyn, sorry, that we were considered miracle workers for so long, right? Oh, they're just miracle, my travel agents. I think we have to go take a step back on the miracle workers, because we can't just make miracles happen.
well, and we have to understand our limitations as well, right? I mean, we have resources, yes, we do, but we also have to understand that sometimes that it's limited. We
Yep.
can't fix everything, and we can't fix everything in a snap.
That's totally true.
Before we finish up, guys, Bill, you made a really great point in our conversation about this prior to the show. And the question was, do our clients know what we expect from them?
Yes.
And I know I am an over communicator when it comes to my clients. I don't do everything for them, but I really do a lot for them. And I think the tide has to shift a little bit where, and Wanda, I know this is you, empower the client to fix things themselves. Use the
Yes.
numbers that they are given. You know, if they've booked their own flights, you can guide them, but they still have to do that part on their own. What does that look like for both of you?
Man, it's definitely exactly what you said. Like I said, I always have that little speech, I don't have any children. I only really deal with adults, so forth and so on. And you have an accountability and responsibility. I mean, I guess as a background as a project management person, a RACI is something we always dealt with: responsible, accountable. Who do you have to consult and who do you have to inform? I work with that every day of my life. It's like, you have a responsibility, accountability to what needs to happen. I have a responsibility to make sure you're informed and to consult you about certain things, but you also have that same responsibility to be reciprocated in that particular regard. And I think all of that also falls right into what Carolyn's segment was, is utilizing that for social proof and making sure that you're putting your knowledge out there, but at the same time, as you're helping those clients and those clients are going, wow, I didn't think about that. Could you write that up for me and send that to me?
Absolutely. The key.
So that you can put that out there and say, my client even realized they didn't know this, and I told them X, Y, Z, so forth and so on. And the last thing I'll say about the social piece as well is, reason I have on my gear today per se is we have to also think about what's happening every day in our world that is also a positive, can be historical, can be, Carolyn, the things that you bring today is this day, so forth and so on. There's a lot of different days that are on the horizon that happen every day that is something totally different that we can focus on, be positive about, post about, etc. We know that February is coming with Black History Month, but January, there's a lot of African-American sororities, fraternities that have Founders Days, which is one of mine as well, many others, just to say that. But there's also a number of calendars that are out there where you can promote different positive things that are happening every day, whether it's ice cream day, donut day, whatever. I think that's the other thing about social, is that we need to not get on the bandwagon behind some of the negativity that we hear and see, because again, what you put out, somebody's picking it up, whether that's another agent, whether that's a client. But if you're going, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. Well, wait a minute. You run the business. How are you getting on the bandwagon of the negativity? You need to be saying, well, I see what happened, but let's talk about that. Here's the facts, etc. But get off the bandwagon.
And there's our mic drop moment of 2022.
And Carolyn, I'll say the one thing that I did wrong over the last 6 months was I sold and took final payment and had discussions with clients based on current situations. So my mental attitude during that time was, things are great, everything's gonna be great, we already know what's going on. And then at the time of travel, things fell apart. And so the expectations of what I was telling them, of what I was capable of doing and what I could do when things fell apart, were two totally different things. And I caught myself in a pickle. I put myself in a bad situation because they thought Bill's going to take care of everything, and Bill wasn't able to take care of everything because I didn't explain they had to do some things as well. And so I don't know how to convey the message, but I'm saying that we need to be very cognizant about when we're booking, when we're taking final payment and when the travel is, and tier that off into different topics for them so that they know exactly what's expected of them.
Amen. Amen.
You guys, it's always a pleasure. I'm so blessed to have each of you on this team. It's just so fun every day to be able to work with you. So here's to 2022. And would you believe we have 90 people on today live? Yay!
Awesome.
Yay!
We love you all. We appreciate you all.
All right, you guys, stay on for the next segment because these two ladies are going to blow you away.
Thank you, Carolyn.
All right, you guys, I am so excited to have these next two ladies on. Please welcome Kama Winters, President of Delta Vacations, and Kristen Malloy, Vice President of Sales for Delta Vacations. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Carolyn, Bill, Wanda. What great energy. Thank you so much for having us here.
Robbie, you can go ahead and pull Wanda and Bill off. I think I said the wrong thing that made you think they should stay on.
Well, we like looking at Wanda and Bill. They're pretty cool people.
Know, right?
They're great.
She always has the best backgrounds.
She does.
Oh, you guys, I'm so excited to have you both here. Thanks for taking the time out of your very busy days. You know, camouflage, you took on your role in June of 2021 during like the craziest time in this industry. What in the world made you decide to take on this role?
It's a great question, and I've been asked it a lot. It is, you know, you can look at it, I'm a glass half full kind of person, and you can kind of look at both sides of this coin, but I can't think of a better time to be joining this industry. I've had the great fortune to start a couple of new roles at Delta during kind of pivotal points of either crisis or, you know, kind of learning opportunities, and I think it's one of those times where you learn the most, the fastest that you've ever learned. And I also think it's a time of building really strong relationships and bonds because you're kind of connected by this shared experience. And I think it's just a way to really accelerate, frankly, a learning into a new job. And it's really, you know, an opportunity to go up from here. So we know we're looking ahead and we see really bright futures on the horizon. And so for me, that's just a beautiful outlook that I couldn't be, frankly, more excited to join the team at this time.
We've talked a lot about how people have communicated with their teams throughout the last 2 years because it had to change from a role where you were typically on the road a lot and going here and going there and a lot of in-person events and meetings to something more remote. How do you connect with a new team, in a new role when it's so virtual and when you can't be in that room together?
Well, I mean, I think the good news is we've had a little bit of practice of this because we've obviously all been in this together for many months, but it's really been about taking kind of moments of connection. And so I joined, midsummer, and I'm still, frankly, getting to know and meeting people across the team. But there's been a really great framework laid out when I joined. We've got, monthly meetings where we connect with the entire team. We've obviously got, a number of different forums. But the one thing that we did start up was also virtual office hours, and just I made it a point to make sure I got to all the offices. Thankfully, I was able to do that, kind of in between variant spikes, and was able to meet really the extended team. But it's one of those things that certainly takes time, and it's building some of those personal connections. So taking the opportunity to visit in person while I had that chance, getting up to see our Minot team and visit our CEC. We have some teams in Minneapolis, and then just finding those moments of one-on-one connection, whether it's through, somebody will reach out and have a great idea and we'll strike up a conversation through that. Or, I've had several folks join my office hours, which has been really nice as well. So I would say it's a all-in kind of approach, but not one single solution.
Awesome. Now it is Thank Your Customers Week, and you have actually said that you are client obsessed. I read that on your LinkedIn profile.
I am.
Those words are hanging out there. How do you suggest advisors in the place that we are at thank those that have helped grow or maintain their business?
It's a great question. I'm actually going to kick this one to Kristen because she does such a great job connecting with our advisors. But I will say I am client obsessed. I'm customer obsessed. And I think that's what is so exciting about, me getting up to speed and learning this business. And I'm learning so much from Kristen and her team on how to really do that well.
And I can absolutely vouch for the fact that she is customer obsessed. We're very, very lucky to have her. She has come and visited, like she mentioned, in between the spikes, not only with our team members, but also with our agency community as well. And we're looking forward to introducing you even more to more people in person. But you've got a definitely winning way when it comes to connecting with our clients. And I guess I'll just start on what you said, Carolyn, by really talking about personal connection. Because personal connection is such a strong bond. It's so important to recognize individual relationships. That can really make the difference. It's not necessarily about making the next sale, but about making that connection which makes that next sale possible. It's so impactful globally in every industry, but I would argue that it's even more important in our industry as well. So yes, it's really important to find ways to connect. We do give you lots of different tools through the marketing hub that you can pull for nice ways that you can reach out to your clients, to remind them that they've got future travel credits, to tell them about specials and destinations as well. But especially now as we go through the peaks and valleys of this pandemic, it's not about the clicks and conversions. And I just want to reiterate that. I think Carolyn shared that really in a very dynamic way during her first segment. But especially at this type of moment in time, we have to keep connected, not necessarily on a hard marketing basis, but rather have that soft touch. It's about information. It's about connection. It's about teaching them different ways to say thank you in many different languages. It's about checking in with your clients. How special does it make you feel when someone reaches out to you out of the blue and just says, hey, I was thinking about you today. How are you doing? Use these times, as crazy as they are with cancellations and rebookings and keeping up to date with information. Try to take the time, even if it's just a couple of connections a week, to reach out to your customer base and make that soft touch. Let them know that you're thinking about them and you really are building that platform for future success. And if I can just expand on that a little bit, and I promise I won't take long on this, but about connecting with those people who are important to you and make your business, I just want to say thank you to all of the KHM advisors that are on this call. You all have stood by us in such an amazing way and have been such a strong partner. And we are just in awe and very grateful for the relationships and for all that you've done to support us over the last 2 years. And I don't know if you know, but both Delta Airlines and Delta Vacations have a little thing that we like to do called Surprise and Delight, where we like to just surprise somebody and give them a special delight, something they weren't expecting. So if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is just to give a little surprise and delight right now to Emily Bookie, who has been just an absolutely amazing partner of ours with Delta Vacations. One of the top booking agents, not only for KHM, but around the country for Delta Vacations. And on behalf of Cam and myself, I would like to surprise and delight her with 2 round-trip tickets to Mexico or the Caribbean, compliments of Delta Vacations. Just a little surprise and delight to thank her for her continued loyalty.
So I have to laugh because I doubt Emily's on today because she's
in Italy. She is learning how to say grazie. But we wanted to give her that moment of acknowledgement and just to say thank you to her for that, because she is something special. And really all of the agents at KHM are something special. And I don't say that when I meet with everyone, but I've heard from so many. And one of the questions that I get a lot from your agents is, what can I do to help Delta Vacations? And I just want to answer that to the whole group right now. We have come a long way. We're hitting our milestones that we promised you over the last 2 years, but it's a rocky road right now. I think the whole industry is feeling that. So what I'd like to say is, if you're looking for something that you can do to help out Delta Vacations, use some of those self-service tools that we've rolled out, especially now in January when things are getting a little hotter. And if you can, think twice before calling if it's something that you can do yourself. We're not asking you only to do that for Delta Vacations or for the sake of our amazing staff in our customer engagement center. but you'll also be helping out your fellow travel agents who may have a more pressing concern going on. And before I shut up, because I told you I talk a lot, Carolyn, the only thing better than one surprise and delight is two surprises and delights. So we'd also like to recognize Latasha Hill. She is an absolute queen in bookings, but she is also amazing in the way that she has used our self-service tools. So we would like to also surprise and delight her and thank her for that. Thank her for taking the initiative, and Latasha will also be sending you a certificate for 2 round-trip tickets to Mexico or the Caribbean as well.
You
and
guys,
I promise that's all the surprises I have.
well, and I love that I didn't even know you were going to do this. That's amazing. Thank you both. That's really very kind. And let's talk about the resources, because at the top of the show before we came live, I was sharing with you all that as I was, going through World Agent Direct and looking at things this morning, I was looking at the different resources available, and one of them, of course, is the interactive travel map. And those of you that are on live, watching later on YouTube, and then listening on our podcast, if you are not using the interactive travel map, start using it. It lifted a huge weight off my shoulders this morning as I kept getting conflicting information about my trip next week to Spain and whether or not a COVID test was needed. And I just decided to give it a whirl. And sure enough, what I knew to be true turned out to be true. But it was so simply put. It wasn't in paragraph form. It was boom, boom, boom in bullet points, and I knew exactly what I needed. So I know that that's just a huge resource, and agents should absolutely be using it.
Thank you.
And I think that's a big part of what we're trying to do is just give customers and agents the confidence to find the information they need quickly, reliably, to get where they're going, and make sure that they do feel confident in traveling again, because it's a different travel environment, which we all know well. And a lot of that is just having the confidence to know that you can rely on the information and know where to go when you need it, and be able to use that to kick off travel again, because I think we all, if anybody needs it, we all do.
Well, and speaking of the where to go now, there is a document for that as well. And it's so creative. We've done segments on the show in the past, and where should we be going now? What's available in the US for those that don't want to leave? And that was a really fun look at different destinations that Delta Vacations serves to help our clients think a little bit outside of the box as far as both US and international destinations that they can go to. So that was another win, I thought. That was really, really neat.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Yeah, we're definitely working to try to build as many resources that we can, and just I think that goes into trying to anticipate the needs of our customers and our clients and our agents. Is what are the types of things that they're going to be looking for, and how can we go ahead and build that or assemble that or create that in a way that will be useful and helpful and assist in getting us back to some level of normal.
And I love the word that you used, anticipate the need, because I think that's one of the hardest things to do, because you think you're going in this direction and then you got to go again. And I will not use the P word this in 2022. I refuse to use that word, but it's you're changing direction, because what you believe is going to happen, then all of a sudden on a dime it changes. So what do you see for Delta Vacations in 2022?
I think reconnection is going to be really the name of everything for 2022. So it's reconnecting with more in-person events, moving away from the virtual environment, not losing the learnings we've made with virtual connections, but nothing can beat that one-on-one connection, whether we're meeting you in your city or we're meeting you poolside in Mexico and sharing a nice frosty beverage together. I think reconnection is really important. Our flagship event will also be back. Delta Vacations University this September will be hosting in Atlanta. And I know KHM always is a huge, huge supporter of Delta Vacations University. So we're looking forward to that. And then just to reiterate what Kama said earlier, investing in the business and the technology to really continue the focus. We really want to be the easiest tour operator to do business with. And it's been a very strong learning curve to get us through the pandemic, but I think we've learned so many things throughout. And we also used this time as an opportunity to really push through certain initiatives that maybe had been things we'd wanted to do for a long time, but didn't necessarily have the time or resources for. The pandemic made them so much more urgent. Things along the line of self-service is going to continue to be a focus. So giving your agents the tools that they need to be able to complete more themselves. And on top of that, investing in our technology, whether it be technology that they can do themselves, or also, to be quite frank, we need to make some pretty strong improvements in our telephone systems as well. So lots of technology coming up in 2021 as well. I'm sorry, 2022, all the years are starting to blur together. And another focus that we have that I think agents are very excited to hear about is we're going to continue our longer promo window so that you'll be able to have a longer booking period and really be able to get out and market those promos and not have such a constant churn of those going on. Hand in hand with that, we've done some additional hiring to our B2B2C marketing team. So we'll be looking at a lot of improvements on that, making it easier for you to post the things you need and get the assets you need. And please, and I tell this to everyone on the line, if you've got suggestions and things that you'd like us to look forward to in 2022, let your BDM know. I know you all know Lucretia very well. She's wonderful. If you've got things you want to see, send them on to her. She will get them to us, and we'll definitely put those in the hopper for 2022.
Everything that you've said, Kristen, is very, to me, agent focused. That there seems to be a commitment, and not that there hasn't been in the past, but 2022, from everything you have said, basically means we are committing to the agent community to provide them with the tools to work better within our systems.
Absolutely.
And that I think is huge. I think that's really huge, because I when you see that sort of commitment on the technology side, it strengthens that partnership, because we do want to do a lot of things ourselves. We don't want to have to call in for things, because that's what a client has to do, right? Exactly. We want to be able to make that booking and service so we can get on to the next one. So that's huge for you guys to be making that commitment to our community.
2021, our commitment was to provide information that you needed at your fingertips. And I think 2022, it's going to be about giving you more power to do things yourself that we haven't had the technology to do before.
I love it. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. I mean, gosh, what a way to kick off the new year. So thank you for your time, your talent, and I hope I get to see you at Delta Vacations University in a few months.
Absolutely.
But I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
And thank you.
Good luck. All right, you guys. Oh, okay. Our last segment for the day is called Ask KHM Today. Every once in a while, I get an email, ask or text. I love the texts or the Facebook message asking me something that's a little different that maybe we haven't thought about before. And so I wanted to share with you this text I received and give you a little bit of insight into my thoughts on it. So this is the text from an agent. Right now, many people are home testing for COVID and not going to the doctor. Doesn't this impact their ability to provide the correct documentation while traveling? And the answer to that is yes, it does. So if you have clients, and this goes back to that conversation where we are having that pre-qualification conversation, you want to make sure that you're telling your clients if they have tested or if they end up needing to test for COVID and end up positive, that they want to be in touch with their doctor so that it's on their medical record. The doctor might order an additional test so that it's in the file and the paperwork's all there. But many of us are doing those home tests right now, and that's not proof. And I don't really know many doctors that are just going to write a letter stating that you when and where you had COVID without that actual proof in your file. So that can impact if you still have the antibodies in your system and you're down in Mexico or DR or Jamaica and you're trying to get back in the country. So you want to make sure that that is noted in their records. So this is that other thing that you just kind of want to be touching on with your clients to make sure that they have that documentation from a doctor in order to travel. So great question. We're going to be giving you information in the next couple of weeks as to how you can keep sending in these wonderful questions that we'll address each week. But you guys, I hope you had a fantastic time today. We want to thank our show sponsor, Apple Leisure Group. And you guys, look at this list of amazing sponsors for the next quarter. We can't be more blessed. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you to Kama and Kristen for joining us from Delta Vacations, and yay to our 2 agents, Emily and Latasha, who won some surprises today. That was so amazing. And Bill and Wanda for your insights, and Carolyn always for your marketing tips. You guys, next week we have Susan Romero, who is in charge of the Galapagos product for Celebrity Cruise Line. So she's going to talk to us about expeditions. And those of you that sell a lot of Mexico, we have Lori Gold coming on, who is the creator of the Facebook group, Resorts of the of Riviera Cancun, Riviera Maya, Resorts of Riviera Maya. She's in charge of that Facebook group. So we're going to talk to her a little bit about why she started it, what some of the benefits are, and just some of the things she's learned by being in charge of that. So we thank you again for being here. Happy 50th episode. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. And how do we stop?